Welcome to the Sanity Project podcast, where you can awaken your mind to clarity and success even in today's life challenges. We're here to provide insights and solutions that will help you live a sane, healthy, and prosperous life. Here's your host, Joanne Victoria.
Hi, this is Joanne Victoria with another episode of the Sanity Project podcast. The Sanity Project podcast is about life-work harmony, and all of my guests help you discover a life of clarity, confidence, and success. And our guest today, Lorraine Reguly, is one that's going to do that for you. Lorraine is an author and English teacher who is now a freelance editor, blogger, and entrepreneur. Those who are entrepreneurs, listen up. Her life journey is motivational and inspirational. Lorraine's book, From Nope to Hope, is designed to help anyone who wishes to lead a happier life. It contains a built-in workbook, which I love, and is available on Amazon. Lorraine offers 4 different services through her business, Wording Well. I love that title as well. And she will help you write your book, edit your book. She'll coach you on writing your book, and she'll help people become published authors. You can't ask for more than that. And what Lorraine is going to talk about today is her own part of her own journey about hitting rock bottom and rising to the top, despite all odds against her. And those of you who are listening, several of you have hit rock bottom or are floating just 2 inches above it. So for Lorraine Reguly to be here today, she's living proof that it is never too late to change. So with her own strategies and techniques that she used on her journey to success, let's welcome Lorraine Reguly. Welcome, Lorraine.
Hi, Joanne. Thanks for having me.
Well, I'm grateful that you are here because I think that you're a great guest for the audience of entrepreneurs and other people who have, I said before, followed me forever, and I'm grateful for that. And because you have some great ideas and strategies that will help people get on their road to success, even if they feel like crap day after day after day. Is that pretty much what it is?
That is pretty much what it is.
Okay.
I had a really rocky life for pretty much my first 40 years. And then my second 40, well, I'm only 48 now, but it's been, since I've hit my 40s, everything has gone really well. So
I'm glad to hear that. But so tell our audience a little bit about how you got from there to here. How did you get from a place where you are helping others? And, that's really important. People want to know. People want to know. You know how they always, people want to know.
yes.
So, the listeners want to know.
Okay. So originally what started out the rockiness in my life was being raped when I was 14 years old, and I was a virgin at the time. And I didn't know how to handle that trauma, and I didn't tell anyone because this happened in the mid-1980s during a time where things aren't as open and talked about in society as they are today. Mm-hmm. And so I kept that basically secret from everybody for about 8 years. And during that time, I ended up trying to self-medicate with food, drugs, drinking, sleeping. I fell into a really deep depression. I tried to kill myself. I quit school. I started looking for love in all the wrong places and became promiscuous. Things really took a turn for the worst in my life at that point. And it just seemed to sort of kind of become like a roller coaster after that with, ups and downs, but more downs than ups. And it was really rocky and tumultuous for many years. I became a single mom at the age of 18. And at that point, I decided I wanted to return to school and get an education so that I could give my son a better life. And so I went to university for 5 years. I obtained a couple of degrees and became a high school math and English teacher, and subsequently taught for about 3.5 years before I quit teaching to return to my hometown and subsequently returned to prostitution, which I had been involved with as well. So there was a lot going on in my past, including gambling addictions and drug addictions and all of that. So getting out of that situation is largely in part of my son, because when he was 19, he had found out that I had been doing drugs and working on the street. And he decided to move out and not have anything to do with me. And I hit my rock bottom that following year. And for 10 months of that year, I ended up smoking crack cocaine. So that was my absolute rock bottom. And then when I just realized one day that I really needed to make a lot of changes in my life if I ever wanted to have my son back in it. And so I got off the streets, I got off the drugs, and I started living a healthier life. And it was ironic because just when I did that, my appendix burst. And I had ended up in the hospital, like literally dying, because I had a really bad infection and my appendix burst into like a bunch of pieces. And it was at that point that I had my aha moment that you hear people talk about. And that was when, that was when my epiphany occurred. And I realized, I don't want to die. Despite having suicidal thoughts and suffering from depression for years, I realized number one, didn't want to die without saying goodbye to my son. And number two, didn't want to die before achieving some of my dreams. And so that was my eye-opening moment. And I ended up getting back into contact with my son. I told him I had made some changes in my life. He believed me when we were talking, because he said he could sense a difference in the tone of my voice and how I was talking with him. So he knew, and he ended up giving me another chance, and we ended up repairing our relationship. Now we are super close. This has been going on since 2012 now, so for the last 7 years. And it was at that point that I decided, okay, I have to start pursuing my dreams of doing something in the writing field. And I'd always wanted to become an author. I'd wanted to become a published poet, a published author, doing a lot of different things with writing. And so at that point, I started blogging. I bought a book called The Writer's Market, because I had written a book when I was in university, and my professor highly encouraged me to get it published. So in 2013, I found out that there was a thing called self-publishing, which essentially means that anyone nowadays can become an author and put a book up on Amazon. So I started learning about the steps of that process. And in fact, I have an article on my website all that outlines those steps for anyone who's interested in becoming an author. It's called How to Become a Self-Published Author on Amazon. And I ended up writing a book called Risky Issues to make sure that I knew what those steps were and had them down pat. And then a couple of years ago, I published a book called From Nope to Hope. And that book is, the tagline of that book is how I overcame my suicidal thoughts and how you can too. And so I use all of the different strategies and techniques that I had learned over the years in order to deal with my depression, deal with my suicidal thoughts, pull myself out of the funk that I was in, and live a happier and healthier life. And in fact, I still use those strategies to this day when I feel that depression is starting to take hold of me again, or when there's a situation that I'm dealing with that's causing me stress or anxiety, and I turn to that book and I flip through and choose the appropriate strategy that's going to help me overcome whatever I need to overcome.
Well, I think our audience, there's several listeners in our audience, I am sure, who have experienced anxiety, depression, probably suicidal thoughts, because that's part of the cake mix. And,
right.
One comes and then the other comes and then the other comes, and they do need help. And I'm sorry that you went through what you went through. However, and I know that has made you stronger in a strange, odd way. And you had to go through it in order to get here, because that's just the way the world is made. You got through, not everybody does. So congratulations for that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, you deserve it. And also, our kids will save us or kill us or both at the same time.
Exactly.
So it's probably very good that you had your son at 18, because you had a goal to achieve. It was for yourself, but it was primarily for your child. And then
Yes, that's true. And he saved my life many times throughout the years, because every time I had suicidal thoughts, all I could think about was, you can't kill yourself, because then your son's going to be left alone.
Right.
I mean, I was a single mom, and I couldn't leave him motherless. I couldn't leave him alone in the world. And so that's what ultimately made me keep going and keep fighting and, stay alive to live, to become the person I am today.
Well, staying alive is the key. God put us here for some reason, and we owe life. We owe our life something. Life doesn't owe us anything, because we got it when we were born. How we choose to live it, we all have different paths, but it's what you can, not just you, but what all of us can contribute to life is where it's important. And you are certainly doing that today. So, what strategies? Okay, so let's say, referencing your book From Nope to Hope, and referencing people who are depressed and anxious, and that third step being having suicidal thoughts. What can they do before they get your book? They'll get your book, I'm sure of it, but right now they're just listening. So what can they do? What strategies, tips, techniques, tools can you offer them so that they could get out of the anxiety? Because anxiety and stress is all based in fear, I think. And, they have to get out of that. Not have to. They shouldn't to.
So the first thing to do is to change your mindset and change your thought patterns. Because when you're in a state of depression, and when all you can think about are negative thoughts and, suicidal thoughts, and how much you don't like your life or don't like certain aspects of your life, what you need to do first is to change your mindset and change your thoughts. And there's a really easy thing that you can do that only takes like maybe a minute or maybe 2 minutes every day that will help you with that. And it's called positive affirmations. So positive affirmations work really magically, actually, in my opinion. And when I first heard about them, I was skeptical, and I didn't know, of their power. So because our mindset is made up of our thoughts and beliefs. It's how we view things, and it's our attitudes and our way of thinking. What we can do to change it is tell ourselves positive statements over and over every single day, and they will sink into your subconscious, and your subconscious will fight to make them a reality. So these positive affirmations don't even have to be the truth when you actually start saying them, but they will become a truth over time. And I actually wrote a whole chapter and made it available for free on one of my websites that it's the whole chapter about positive affirmations, about what they are, how they work, how I use them, and my history with them. Some samples. There's a free downloadable worksheet, or you can even just copy and paste right from my website. I included everything in there, and it's all available for free. The title of that is How to Use Positive Affirmations to Improve Your Life.
And which website would they find it on, Lorraine?
Wordingwell.com.
Okay.
So it's wordingwell.com/positive-affirmations. So it's a simple URL to remember. You can just even Google positive affirmations Wordingwell, it'll come up. There's another chapter I also made available for free on that website, and that's using meditation, the law of attraction, and visualization to basically to get what you want. And it's really cool. So that chapter is also available for free. So those are some strategies that people can start using like today. And if they buy my book, they will get a lot more different strategies and techniques. There's 21 chapters in my book. The first 5 talk about why you want to kill yourself, and they share 4 different people's stories, including my own, that other people have had with either suicidal thoughts or suicide attempts. And then there's a whole bunch of chapters on the different strategies and techniques that I use. They include temporary as well as long-term coping strategies. Some of that includes identifying your emotions and releasing negativity from your life, how to change your mindset by using positive affirmations, which I just mentioned. Same with using meditation, the law of attraction, and visualization. And those 2 chapters, like I said, are free. Chapter 10 talks about forming healthy habits one step at a time. Then there's improving your self-image. There's alternative treatments and counseling. There's acceptance, spirituality, and your will to change. Create your path to a happier life. Put your plan into action by setting and attaining goals. Assess your growth. Conquer procrastination. How to make your happiness last. And then what to do if your suicidal thoughts return. And I also included additional resources and available help, a chapter for that, as well as a chapter on the after effects of suicide. One of my friend's sister committed suicide, and I asked him if he would share what his family has been left to deal with in the aftermath of her suicide, just to bring more awareness to people about, it's not just you that suicide will affect. It will affect every one of those people who you leave behind. And that's something that we don't often think about, because when we're stuck in our depression and are having our suicidal thoughts, we're so focused on ourselves that we have tunnel vision, and we can't seem to realize that, oh, there's other people in this world. And you know what? Those people that care about me are going to be left to deal with a lot of crap after I'm gone. Mm-hmm. And so, bringing some awareness to even that will often get us out of those thoughts and thinking about other things. So there's a lot of really good stuff packed in that book. And yes, it's got a built-in workbook, because at the end of each chapter, I ask questions and I provide a space and either a chart. In some places, there's a couple of charts to fill in, like a 2-column chart, like my emotion is this and what can I do, when I'm feeling this to stop feeling it or to deal with it. And I teach, it's all based on whatever's taught in that chapter. And so it's a really helpful book. I've had a lot of really great feedback about it. And for example, in the chapter on positive affirmations, I'm just looking at the website right now. There's a spot to fill in the blanks to create your own list of goals, steps, obstacles, and solutions. So it starts out by saying, I want to make the following 3 changes in my life. And here's the 3 reasons why I want to change.
Let's stick with that for a minute.
Okay.
That sounds like something that anybody can do.
Exactly. Anybody can do it.
They can do it right now while they're listening to this, or as soon as they're finished listening to this for at least 2 or 3 times, because I always tell people to re-listen to a podcast because, it's half an hour plus or minus and people miss things.
Right.
It's not like a TV show where they have commercials every 6 or 7 minutes where they can, reflect if they want to on what they just saw. But, it's like there are many ways to commit suicide and still stay alive. You experience some of them yourself, drinking, drugs, overeating, being a miserable person to everybody else, to wind up being further alone, whatever it might be. But I think if people right now, look at this particular process, but what are the obstacles in their life right now? 3. You recommend 3 obstacles. Is that what you said?
Yes, I have. So on the worksheet for at the end of that free chapter about positive affirmations, there's a section to create your own positive affirmations, but there's also a section to create your own list of goals, steps, and obstacles and solutions, so that you can identify certain areas of your life where you want to make the changes, why you want to make the changes, what you're going to do to make those changes, and then what your obstacles are that might stand in your way, but then also how you can overcome those obstacles. And so I just have 3. You can write, pick your own number if you want to write 5 or if you want to write 10, if there's that many. But 3, usually people can think of 3 reasons.
Sure.
Off the top of their head. So by just writing down 3 things, you can easily identify what you want to change, why you want to change it, and how you're going to change it.
Well, I think the biggest problem, if I want to label it that, is people are unwilling to do any work. People want magic to happen. They want to have somebody outside of themselves solve their problems. They don't want to take they don't understand what taking responsibility is. That's my experience. And
right, but if you keep doing nothing about your situation, then nothing is going to change.
And believe me, I'm aware of that. That's right. What I'm talking about. This is
and that's why it's really important that people understand that if they want to change, they have to change themselves.
Yeah.
They have to create those changes in their own life. And it's easier than people think it is.
I understand that. I totally agree with you. It is not that difficult. It's just it's first you have to take responsibility. Then you have to decide what you want. Do you want to be a fulfilled, successful person, or do you want to be a sloth? I mean, it's just, you have to make up your mind. But if you want to, as I try to help people do, is discover a life of confidence, you have to do something about it. You have to be willing to put yourself out there and not just go hide under the covers, because it's not going to happen that way, people. It is just not going to happen. So for those of you, you can go to Wording Well, that's WORDING Well, WELL.com, and you will see this free chapter given to you by Lorraine Reguly, my Lord, Reguly. And, she gives it away freely and blessing it, because this is your opportunity to get your butt out of depression and anxiety before it rolls into, I don't want to live anymore, because it's not as simple as you may think. And you'll find that it's just not as simple to do that. I mean, it's just...
Right. Joanne, Phil Donahue had once said that suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem.
Right.
And so, once you commit suicide, there's no going back. But if you think about the flip side of it, all your problems that you're experiencing right now are temporary. They're not going to last forever. And you can change them. And that's what a lot of people don't realize, is that they have the power within themselves to take one small step every day to make those changes. And it's not like, someone saying, okay, well, here's 100 things you got to do right now. It's like, just do one small thing today. And over time, all of those small things will add up into a great big change.
Yes, it goes beyond one day at a time, people. It goes 1 minute at a time, one step at a time.
Exactly.
And there are so many stressed out people out there, especially entrepreneurs, because life is uncertain from day to day. So I want to thank Lorraine for being here today, and you can contact her at her website at wordingwell.com, or go to Lorraine Reguly, REGULY.com, and you will see more information there. And also keep in mind, she's an editor, people. For those of you who are thinking about writing a book, she does more things than that, but a good editor is hard to find, trust me. And is there one last thing you want to say to our audience, Lorraine, besides buy your book?
No, but what I would like to say is, if there is one part of your life that you're not happy with, like for those entrepreneurs out there, we're always struggling to, grow our business or get more clients or, scale up our lives in some way. But we have to stay happy in the process. We have to, we can't think like someday is this magical time that's going to come and then someday I'm going to be happy. Because that never happens. We have to be present in this moment, here and now, and enjoy our successes now. Because this moment is all we have. And this moment, as time keeps passing, it's still this moment that we're in. And it's this moment we need to enjoy. So we can enhance our enjoyment of our lives if we look at where we used to be, at where we are now, and all of the obstacles we've overcome to get to where we are now. That will increase our enjoyment and our satisfaction with our lives, rather than always focusing on like, oh, okay, so I've met these 500 goals already, but I still have 500 more I want to do. Yeah. And we always focus on those future ones. But by taking the time to recognize how much we have actually already accomplished, that will give you a better sense of purpose and satisfaction moving forward.
Well, thank you, Lorraine, for that. And as I suggest on each and every one of my episodes, please listen to this more than once. Re-listen to this right away. And if you can, if you're driving, pull over or put your notes into your phone, but you're going to find a way here to take notes on this. Go to wordingwell.com and LorraineReguly.com. And for those of you who are looking to deal with me, go to my website at askjoannevictoria.com. That's ASKJOANNE Victoria, as in the Queen.com. And you'll find plenty of free things on my website, including loads of podcasts, loads of blog posts, and some free books and whatever else I offer. So I want to thank Lorraine gratefully for being here today. And everybody,
it was my pleasure. Thank you.
I'm glad you're here. Everybody have a great day. Think better of yourselves, people, okay? Take care. Bye-bye.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Sanity Project podcast. Please go to AskJoanneVictoria.com to listen to more podcasts. Check out Joanne's coaching programs and get a free copy of her report, 5 Steps to Achieve Life-Work Harmony. That's AskJoanneVictoria.com. Take care, and thanks for being here.